What's up, it's your boy Aux Heat Wes here, and it's been 500 years since I've actually recorded any form of to camera piece or even podcast. The longer I live, the less I feel like I have something deep or poignant to say anymore. I feel like everything is being said out there. I think that's the trap of when you learn a lot, there always feels like there's more to learn, but also that a lot of people know stuff intuitively, or at least have some sort of connection to a form of higher understanding. Not everyone, and sometimes you can't even judge people's initial behaviors off of that. You know, it is Ramadan, it's the month of the Quran, and the green one. I'm gonna use the English term. There's a prophet known as the green one who had been gifted particular insight to the machinations of God, or at least a deeper insight to some of the hidden truths behind the nature of specific things. And in the Quran, there's a story of an interaction between the green one and Moses, peace be upon them both, where the green one performs sets of actions. You see, the green one is like old, ancient, almost like Yoda. I don't know. Maybe that's why he's called the green one. Not to get too fanciful with this stuff, but yeah, sets of interactions between him and Moses, and what ultimately happens is that his actions seem violent or cruel or inconsiderate in the moment, but when given a wider context, they have meaning. And I don't know what the deeper reason to maybe why when Moses asked to be educated by the green one, to be guided in some context, um, he witnessed the green one acting in just pure dedication and flow to his deeper understanding of the world. And so, lacking the context that he had, Moses was like, okay, this guy's just acting, you know, erratic. And every time the green one says, don't question my actions, I'm gonna do stuff, and you're gonna see me do it. But if you question me, I have to leave you there. Like you you obviously are not like ready to witness how I behave. So as the story goes, um, there was a town that they went into that was particularly rude. I'm possibly saying this out of order. There was a town that they went into that was particularly rude to them, and when they left, as Moses was dusting the dirt off of his sandal of the place, he was washing himself clean of the whole experience, he saw the green one build the city walls back up, or a portion of a city wall, and he was shocked. He was like, these people are rude, and you still, show them a bit of kindness. I mean, Moses is a pretty important prophet in the Quran in general, mentioned a lot. And so that particular instance would have been an interesting insight into maybe the natural disposition of Moses. There's been many allusions to maybe impatience or, um, you know, just his quick action, quick temper. Um, so maybe this was a thing of annoyance. It's like, whoa, why are we doing this for these people? There's no um, need for us to be nice in this situation. And, the green one was like, yo, listen, I told you don't question my methods. Best we leave it here. I was just like, whoa, wait. Let me try again. Let me learn from you. Let me follow what your actions and see where it goes. Okay, they're still missioning. Then they come upon a coastal town. Like I said, this might be out of order because I'm actually going off of memory now and I didn't revise it. But they go to a coastal town, and the green one goes to a particularly old man's boat. They know it's an old man's boat, or maybe, I think later context, they find out it's an old man's boat. Well, Moses finds out. And he just sinks the ship. And he leaves it and he's like, yo, let's keep going. And Moses really like, whoa, what's going on, man? We're just sinking people's ships. It's like, I told you, if you're gonna question me, you gotta bounce. Like, oh, give me one last chance. Most stories, they have that rule of thirds. Even AI will tell you rule of thirds. The last time, right? They come upon a town, and the green one just walks up to this young man, just cuts him down. Now Moses like, yo, bruh, we're killing people, bruh. What's going on? What is going on? And in that instance, green one was like, yo, listen, third time's the charm. I told you, if you're gonna question me one more time, I'm gonna tell you it's done. I can't teach you anything right now. Just to show, as much as you can be a person of piety, a high ranking person in terms of even the spiritual realm, there's still levels to it. There's certain people who are gifted certain insight beyond what maybe you're gifted. And so that is how there's almost a flow of equanimity. I believe that's a word. Within the world, Moses like, please, before I leave you be, I just need to know, like, Wagwan. So the green one was like, I just imagine this guy being like a stoic character. Peace be upon them both. Green one just be like, yo, listen. When we were back in that city and I rebuilt that wall, there happened to be 2 orphans, right, in that city, that in the will, that when they came of age, they were going to be given access to that side of the city. And it was in ruin and was under the threat of actually people discovering that underneath that wall was the inheritance. And so them being kids, they didn't have much agency perhaps in that situation. He restored the wall so that they may receive their inheritance. And I think the deeper chat behind that is that they were going to be people who were, good and pious. And in a city that maybe had a lot of rude people, they would be shining examples of behavior in the future. Future sight is crazy. Second time. And I believe in other traditions, the story has been told in a similar way. Maybe not with Moses as the protagonist, but I've heard it told before in different contexts. I think even before I went deeper into this Quranic story, but the sinking of the boat. Now, it was said that in that particular uh, coastal town, it was part of a kingdom where the king was going around seizing all the boats that were functioning or were, basically good to use, because he was going to go off and fight some war, or, use it for other selfish purposes, which maybe was not in service of the people there. That old man who owned that boat, his only livelihood was fishing and the use of that boat. And if that boat was going to be taken away from him, he was going to be left starving and destitute and just in a bad way. So by sinking the boat, the old man would then be able to restore his boat upon seeing that it had sunk. It's easier to mend a broken boat that you own than to get a new boat that, you don't even have a boat. So there was a deeper wisdom behind sinking that boat. And thirdly, now with the murder of this young man, and perhaps a very interesting look perhaps into the justification of the death penalty. I don't know, people are up to the interpretation of it, and I think there's wiser men who have interpreted it in possibly a better way. But the young man happened to have two pious parents. I mean, we all have two parents in some way, but both of the parents was alive and pious, and he had started on the road to corruption. He had started becoming more and more rebellious, and it was possibly destined for him to become just incredibly evil in his town, and possibly even to be said about, like, some far-reaching evil that he was a part of. And so the Green One took the child's life in honor of the parents and their steadfastness, because maybe in their softness they were never going to be able to fully stop him on the path that he was going down. And so instead of letting him also fall into deeper corruption, he was cut down there. What an interesting discussion, because whenever I think of that last story, because I'm pretty sure the murder was the last story, whenever I think about that, I think about the anime Psychopaths and the sort of preempting of people's criminality. It's a deeper discussion to have, but I think the overarching narrative of all of these stories per se is actually around, firstly, we don't have insight into everything, perfect insight. We can be the best of people with the best of intentions, but we'll never have insight to everything. Maybe with this AI surveillance state, is the pursuit of insight a worthy pursuit? Possibly to a point, and never to a, this need for control or omnipotency or omniscience over the population. Who knows? Maybe the Green One is still roaming. There is stories about him being a long-living being, or perhaps an immortal character to some extent. Also, secondly, it's about there's certain tragedies that happen in our lives, and within our perspective, they can seem so painful and so unjust and so cruel and so unnecessary. But there is a deeper blessing within such things occurring. And so by those strategies, sounded like I said strategies, but through those strategies occurring, they are actually able to facilitate good or deeper experiences of wholesomeness all around. I had a third point that wanted to speak about, and I was trying to formulate it while I was explaining the two. But also, I guess the greater wisdom is that you don't have to make stories about the power of threes, although it is a um, mentally satisfying number. It is a number of significance throughout many traditions, and yeah, just sometimes holds very interesting and specific significances, cultural significances, religious significances to people. But I can kind of leave you guys on that lurch. This, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. This is kind of the post video chats. This channel is, for all intents and purposes, just like a mixed channel of like my idea dumps. It's also a beat channel because I make music under the moniker Aux Heat Wes. If you're interested to check that out. The reason why this is not the main channel is because I'm trying to have dedicated music related content and sort of branded identity content within the structure of the Aux Heat Wes ecosystem. This is just me just trying to explore my ideas. Yeah, shout out to you guys, shout out to the creative process. If you've subscribed to this channel at some point for my beat videos, shout out to you if you're still around, because I feel like at this stage I don't even think I can worry about SEO or the algorithm working for this channel, because I've used it, coming up to something over 10 years, I think. Like, I literally posted a viral FL Studios tutorial in high school on this channel, and so I don't know if there's any form of reviving what's going on here. But yeah. Bless, guys. Enjoy.